Now, we're looking forward to a new drama called The-Following, and it's the story of a notorious serial killer. He's called
Joe Carroll, and he's escaped death row, and he's started off on this new killing spree. Now, having put Carroll away 9 years earlier, the FBI call upon a former agent, Ryan Hardy, that's played by Kevin Bacon, who's going to come back and hopefully sort it all out. But no,
yes, they soon uncover something even more sinister.
Sarah had to die, Ryan. I know it's sad. It's tragic. Poor thing. She worked very hard to get her life back together. She'd done quite nicely, which is more than I can say for some. Well, you've been quite the disappointment, Ryan. Now, I never expected you capable of in cold blood, but what was it with that true crime drivel?
So what's my sequel about, Joe? Everyone outside is anxious to know.
Well, it's going to be a collaboration. We're going to write this together, Ryan.
And the man who does evil very well is James Purefoy, and he's here with us in the studio. It's an American production.
It is indeed.
And we're going to see it on
Sky Atlantic on the 22nd of January.
Right.
The trailers are quite scary already. I'm quite scared before it even started.
It's one of those American shows that once you pick it up, you will not be able to put it down. The last 5 minutes of that episode, you suddenly realise what the whole thing is going to be about. Because essentially it's predicated on this rather grim statistic that in the United States there are apparently, according to the FBI, up to 300 serial killers active on any given day.
Active.
300.
Active. So really it's about the idea of what would you do if you got one incredibly charismatic, very smart, very bright serial killer who could get in touch somehow with all of the others to create a cult.
Oh dear.
And that's what this Joe
That's what you don't want.
And and this is so what you don't want.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's fiction. This is just a piece of TV, but it's kind of very scary thought. And then that's what the show is kind of about: is the sudden realization that this thing is spawned, that he's done this thing and got in touch with all these other people through Twitter and social networking and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And suddenly all these things start kicking off all over the United States.
Yes.
And then the history between the character Kevin Bacon plays is that he caught you last time and jailed you. Is it this kind of relationship where
there's a mutual respect?
Almost a mutual respect.
There is. They're sort of like both, opposite sides of the same coin in a way. They kind of need each other to exist, and they will keep going on and on and on until one of them dies, I guess. But there's a very symbiotic relationship. They're sort of like ivy around a tree, if you like, and one can't do without the other.
How do you research something like that, the evilness of all of that? I mean, do you look at the histories of serial killers? Do you watch Silence of the Lambs? Do you what do you do?
I think one of the things that I certainly did, I didn't watch anything fictional. I think as an actor, if you're watching fiction, then all you're doing is sort of regurgitating other people's performances rather than finding something original that you're going to do yourself. But I did sit in a hotel room in Los Angeles for about a week, the windows drawn and a room service piling up outside my door. As I YouTubed, don't do this, don't try this at home, viewers. As I YouTubed serial killers and serial killer interviews.
No, that must have been very depressing.
And you can just spend I spent a whole week watching documentaries and watching interviews, and then of course watching interviews with cult leaders and different kinds of cult leaders. And what is it about those things, because I guess that's the spin on this show.
But you see, nothing less than I would expect from an actor of your calibre. And you talked about the room service trays piling up outside in the corridor. But Ruth was picking upon this. I mean, this man takes his role so seriously.
But you said, I read about you that each role you do, you kind of your diet to what you eat kind of corresponds to how that character.
I'll try and work out what it is. When I played Mark Antony on Rome, for example, he started off as a very vigorous man, and then towards the end of his life became a big drinker, and he was kind of eating a great deal. So that was one of the things I started having to do towards the end of that show, is just making yourself look a bit puffy, a little bit.
I've
out
tried
of
that
shape.
for this role.
Have you?
Yes.
I don't think you're successful.
No, but the trouble is,
You need to go further.
but I can't get rid of it. The trouble is, so how do you abuse your body like that and then say, no, I'm going to go back to normal?
I think you just have to have you have to just have a lot of discipline.
No,
you go to the gym and you run and you stop and you eat properly after. That's what you have to do. Eat less and exercise more. That's the only way to lose weight.
You love cooking as well, though, don't
and
you?
I love cooking.
You're a good cook.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Yeah, no, I do. I love cooking. I think that's one of the things I picked up when I was in Italy with when we were shooting Rome. There is that the Italians have such an incredible fondness, right, from when they're very, very young, for cooking, making pasta, and the whole idea of food and families and that kind of stuff.
It's very social.
It's a
isn't it,
very
food?
social thing that they do there. So I think here we tend to eat for fuel, don't we, rather than for enjoyment.
You're making the series in America, so is it 15 episodes?
So it's 15 episodes.
So how many have you done?
And we've done 10 so far. I go back to New York next Monday to shoot the other 5.
And when do you start getting in serial killer mode? When you're on the plane on the way back, or when do you?
It's
you're getting a bit creepy now. If you don't mind me saying so.
Don't annoy him at check-in.
Don't annoy me at check-in. I guess no. I think it's such a dark part that this is really one of those jobs where you have to go in and you start it when you put the makeup and the costume on, and then at the end of the day when that costume goes back in the wardrobe, you drop it again because he's a really monstrous man with no empathy, no kindness, and once it is sadistic to a T.
Well, it is the following 22nd of January, Sky Atlantic HD at 10 o'clock, like Homeland, like 24. It's one of those things we're going to love.
Terrific.
James, lovely talking to you. Thanks very much.
Thanks,
I just
Happy
want to
New
be
Year,
nice
by
to you.
the
Don't want to annoy you in any way. He's the sort of guy. We're back after the break. Don't go away.
Thank you.